No romance in your life? No problem. Bam! Rom-coms and romance anime. Listless and crappy life? No problem. Bam! Isekai anime.
やっためだ。落ち着け。ここは一旦頭を冷やして。
こんにちは皆さん、Yonggiです。Yonggi-bakaと新しいビデオへようこそ。はい。異世界アニメとロマンティックコメディアニメをすぎるです。私に二つとてのファンタジーですけど、いつでもたくさんを見る異世界に行きたいを話す。でも私はまだここにいます。しょうがない。
どうぞお飲みください。
No romance in your life? No problem. Bam! Rom-coms and romance anime. Listless and crappy life? No problem. Bam! Isekai anime. Whichever way, nowadays, it's all fantasy to me, baby. You're probably tired of me talking about rom-coms, so in today's video, I'll be talking about a couple of cuckoos. Just kidding. I'll be talking about a couple of isekai anime. But before we begin, like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of this.
揺れた。今揺れたよな。こいつ動くのか。
どうぞ。
The first anime I'd like to briefly discuss is Isekai Mekyu de Harem o. And I'd say brief because there's really not much to say about it. It's pretty much a hentai that made its way onto Crunchyroll. But not to worry, it's heavily censored in one of the best ways possible. Not by Steam or by random light beams covering up what you shouldn't be looking at, but by computer error boxes that pop up over the screen to cover up intimate bits, and at times when things get too spicy, covering up the entire screen.
ウハウハできちゃうってこと。
Spicy. Our carbon copy main character protagonist named Kaga Michio was your typical socially inept high school student who got bullied by his peers at school and bullied by his dad at home. Yikes. One day, when coming across a shady video game on an online site, he signs up and makes his character, and once that's complete, gets sent to the world within the game. Bye bye real world problems. Hello, group of bandits attacking villagers. There's no better teacher than experience, am I right?
大丈夫。これは最初のイベントなんだ。レベル1の俺にだって倒せる相手のはず。行くしかない。
Isekai Mekyu de Harem o roughly translates to building a harem in another world's dungeon. And that's really all that happens, staying true to modern day MMORPG mechanics, which are essentially just grind fests of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Aside from the time that Michio spent slaughtering bandits to raise funds to purchase a slave that will do anything, emphasis on the word anything for him.
様はお前を求めた。
ありがとうございます。
And thus, a new daily grind begins.
かわいいな、めっちゃ。
anything.
よろしくお願いします。
Honestly, the anime is very reminiscent to me of early 2000s RuneScape days, when you would go into the same dungeons and do the same thing over and over, day in and day out, minus all the non-marital adultery that takes place. That's why I watched the censored version, because it brings me back and gives me a kick for a similar reason. It brings me back to the time when you go onto naughty sites and have a cajillion pop-ups flood the screen, covering all the good bits that you came to the site for. Ah, good memories.
いや、そもそもここは本当にゲームの中なのか？
Seriously, there are better isekai, and probably hentai with a better plot out there. Probably. Like Isekai Oji-san. And even though it has isekai in its title, it may not necessarily be an isekai in the traditional sense of the isekai subgenre. 1. It takes place in the real world. And 2. Its isekai story is pretty fractured, giving us peaks in between interjections and told retrospectively by our Isekai Oji-san, who awoke from his coma of 17 years.
イレルラーズ、グランバハマル、トナ、ガルトエバーリレクス。
頭がおかしくなっていた。
When Shibazaki, that almost sounds like Shibazaki in Korean. When Shibazaki Yosuke was 17, he got hit by a truck and put into a coma. Upon waking up from this coma 17 years later, he claims that he was transported to an isekai, where others mistook him for being an orc because of his appearance, proving that being transported to an isekai may not be all that anime makes it out to be. And while it all could have been a coma-induced dream, he used the powers he gained in the isekai to prove his claims.
異世界にいた証拠を見せよう。
え、いや、いいです。
ワーグレント・セルド。あれ。ワーグレント・マグナ。
Yosuke stays with his nephew who spots a business opportunity to start a YouTube channel and showcase his uncle's powers and earn ad revenue. And it works out to some success and dollar bills, y'all. Wow, what a great idea. If only I had supernatural otherworldly powers, it would put me on the fast track to the gravy train of success. It's a shame that that storyline kind of falls into the backdrop as Yosuke begins to reminisce about his time in the isekai to his nephew and his nephew's friend.
おい、なんで W をたくさんつけるんだ。
煽り耐性はまだない。
In the isekai, Yosuke is overpowered, crediting being a Sega diehard fanboy of a gamer to his success in the isekai, using his in-depth knowledge of game mechanics to fend for himself and help others along the way. All of those to think that he's an orc because of his outward appearance. But I say he more has the social awareness of an orc, which often leads to hilarious misunderstandings.
確か誰も助けてなんか頼んでないわ、触らないでとか、あんたのために助けたんじゃないわ、勘違いしないでとか、あんたみたいな大怪我と一緒で吐かずにいられるのは私ぐらいなものねとか。
I peeked into the winter season of anime and saw that Isekai Oji-san will be continuing on into the winter. My predictions for the anime is that the more Yosuke shares his story of his time in the isekai to his nephew and his nephew's friend, the more they're going to realize that the girls that Yosuke had an encounter with had feelings for him, and they're gonna painfully drag him to that realization for himself. And in typical anime fashion, he's going to somehow find his way back into that isekai, and we're gonna have a real isekai on our hands. That's just my prediction as someone who only watches the anime and not the source material.
そんな大きな借りは作りたくない。これでどうだ。世界に7つしかないと言われる天聖石の指輪だ。
Whenever I watch an anime, I never project myself into the main character's role. I simply just enjoy the anime for the story that's being shared, and Isekai Oji-san is no different. I actually wouldn't mind an anime that's dedicated to Yosuke's time in the isekai, capturing all of his adventures. While he's your typical main character who's overpowered, it's balanced out by how much of a doofus he is. He's nonchalant about all of his feats, and any semblance of romance goes right over his head. His low EQ is comedic to a T.
こんな感じでモンスターから守ってやったんだ。
どう見ても自分を犠牲にして弟たちを守ろうとしていた。
いい感じだろう。
When it comes to both of these anime, there's not really too much that can be delved into character or even story-wise, which is what I crave most when it comes to isekai anime. If they can even be considered isekai anime, one's more of a hentai and the other doesn't really take place in an isekai. Yes, there are comedic elements, but their comedic elements get tiring pretty fast, and their plots can be summed up just as quickly. A main listless character gets transported to an isekai, and becomes super overpowered without any real hard work or meaningful growth. More akin to that of Ari Ferretta, less Tate no Yusha, Season 1. We don't talk about Season 2 in this channel.
まあそういったわけで異世界でもうまくいかなかったのが俺だ。
And while it would be cool to be an overpowered SOB trapped in an isekai and head of my own harem filled with scantily clad dressed women, I say that for myself, not for the anime that I watch, I'm stuck here jabbering on about my takeaways from anime. That being said, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so I can be like the Oji-san from Isekai Oji-san. 今日はこの辺です。ありがとうございます。ずっと元気でいたね。じゃあまたね。
触らないで。勘違いしないで。あんたみたいな大久顔と一緒で吐かずにいられるのは私ぐらいのものね。